Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Welcome to Sporgy, the show that gives you half-ass sports fans giving their half-ass opinions.
And now, here are your hosts.
Oh, it's the Fantasy Hack. It's week 15. It's almost over. But I'm Chris. Hanging out with me is JR.
Hey, everyone.
Jack is here.
Long live the Eagles.
Yeah. The somehow still in contention Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get to that. But how'd your weeks go, guys? Mine was filled with losses. I talked all last week about having 4 teams in the playoffs. Yeah, well, I got 1 left, and that's only because of the bye.
Well, I had 6 or 7 ESPN leagues I won. Unfortunately, my big money league, my Vegas league, I lost. Thank you, Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins for that 70-yard bomb near the end that cost me 30 points, which is about the margin I lost by. But I did do well in a couple of my ESPN leagues, but a lot of those ones I won, and a couple of those I was in the consolation. But I did have 3 buys because I was 1 or 2 seed. So there's still life. It's just all the big stuff, the big important leagues didn't do so well in.
Yeah.
But hey, Jack and I are facing each other in the toilet bowl in one of them. So this week is a big week for us for the toilet bowl championship. Hey, it pays $50.
Hey, someone's bringing home the trophy in your house for that one.
No, it won't be the good trophy. The good trophy is much more money than that.
Yeah,
that's a $250 a franchise league. And disclaimer, because Jack's not that old to be. He's actually managing a team for another friend of ours in the league who has some health issues, but he's done a great job stepping in for him. So get well soon, Tom, and good job, Jack. I'm sure he'll be rooting for you to snare that $50. I'm going to take it because I don't want to lose to you, Jack.
All I needed was
Neither do I.
I just needed projections out of Saquon. That's all I needed to win my big money league, or at least to get to the championship game. Not good.
Well, it wasn't the Saquon show. The Eagles stopped him pretty good, but it was the Eli Manning show, at least for one half.
Oh, yes.
But as Chris said, we'll get at that later.
It's because the farewell tour has started for him. But yeah, how'd you do, Jack?
Well, I had a bye, I had a playoff loss, 2 playoff victories, and a consolation victory. So not too bad.
To me,
I'm moving on in 3 leagues.
Hey, to me, this week just pretty much encompassed, like, that's fantasy football. You can kick ass all year, and then 1 week, and it's over. But that's why we love it, right? So let's get to the games. Let's start off with Thursday night. Bears and the Cowboys. We've gone over this. The Cowboys' defense is the liability here, right? It's the offense does their job.
Does coaching do their job?
Oh, that's
31 points. They made Mitchell Trubisky look like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
It's 2 Thursdays in a row. Mitch Trubisky looked good.
Look like Otto Graham out there, slinging it.
But I still think the Cowboys will end up in the playoffs. Don't ask. Just their offense is doing what they're supposed to. Well, that's right. I'm talking to a couple NFC East guys here, but
it doesn't matter. I mean, we
NFC
can root
East.
all we want, but we saw putrid half of football from the Eagles before they woke up.
yeah.
But
Whoever's coming out of the NFC East is first round
One and
fodder,
done.
right? Yeah.
playoff fodder, one and done.
The Rams wish that they could become the Delaware Clams.
Yeah.
Just squeak in because that's the way it's going right now.
Mm-hmm.
What highest record we can have is 7-9. 7-9 playoff. I mean, 9-7 playoff.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting.
Well, the Redskins went, was it 2-3 years ago, 7-9, so you never know.
Yeah, like Seattle did it a couple years ago.
But fantasy relevance in this game, and I mean Dak, Zeke, Amari
Allen
Cooper,
Robinson.
Michael Gallup, Allen Robinson. I mean, we're talking about fantasy busts, and next week we'll get into the busts and the overperformers of this year. But David Montgomery, boy, did I get had drafting him. He's done nothing. I think he's been in my lineup 1 week out of the 15. He's just not been good. Moving on to the Sunday games, Panthers at the Falcons. Woo! Maybe the Panthers should have kept Riverboat Ron because.
Do my eyes deceive me? Did Devontae Freeman score a touchdown?
Yes.
Wow.
My question is was it his first one of the year?
That would be hilariously funny, but also sad
It might be true.
for the people that drafted him.
Yeah, but
Matty
Ryan-
Ice had himself a day.
What's that?
Said Matty Ice had himself a day.
That's just about what I was about to say. Matt Ryan
Huh?
did his thing. Calvin Ridley owners, sorry. We'll see you next year.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know who Ola Mai.
CMC.
Zacchaeus.
CMC was pedestrian this week.
Yeah,
Figures, he ride the horse all year long, and then when you meet him the most, he got 53 yards on 11 carries, no touchdowns.
hey, the team I have him
Well,
on had a bye, so I'm okay with it.
Oh, he had 11 for 82 receiving, no touchdowns, but still, even on a bad day, you got double-digit score from him. Mm-hmm. But still not what you're accustomed.
And the answer to the question is yes. It is his first rushing touchdown all season.
Wow.
He has had 3 receiving, but his first rushing touchdown. So if you drafted Devontae Freeman up to this point, you've gotten so far 506 yards and a touchdown.
Ooh.
That's it.
Ouch. That is 57 points. Or 56 points. Cool.
It is pretty rough.
David Moore looks like he's doing his best to be overdrafted next year, or drafted way too early, or DJ Moore, I'm sorry. David Moore's on the Seahawks. Austin Hooper came back, which I'm sure you were happy about there, Jack.
Yes, he did. Thank you.
Yeah, as far as this game, that's really all there is to talk about. Next,
What a boring game.
next, the Ravens and the Bills. The Bills were a lot more competitive in this game than I thought they were going to be. I'll be perfectly honest.
He showed some fight.
Yeah, and quite honestly, if I'd have started Devin Singletary over Saquon Barkley, I'd have moved on in my big money league. But who in their right mind would start Devin Singletary versus the Ravens over Saquon versus the Eagles? Nobody. There's like one guy who probably did it. But yeah, it's didn't the Ravens lose,
all took it up.
didn't the Ravens lose Mark Andrews in this game? Like, is he done for the season?
Did you say started Singletary over Sanders?
No, I said.
Is that what you
Barkley.
said?
No, I said if I would have started Singletary over Barkley, I'd have won.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But
I was going to say I started Singletary. I don't have Sanders or Saquon on anything.
Saquon.
but the Ravens, did they lose Mark Andrews in this game? Is that it for him, or was it just?
I'm told that the Harbaugh says that Andrews is going to be ready for Thursday, but a lot of a lot of experts that I've read today are skeptical of that. But he is not out for the season.
All right.
He's day-to-day and questionable for this week. So you better have somebody queued up in case he can't go. But fortunately, with a Thursday, you'll know if he's inactive and you can take him out.
Yeah.
Give me some Hayden Hurst.
Yep.
But I also, I think it's a pretty tough matchup for. Who are they playing? Buffalo?
They just played
The Ravens,
Buffalo.
they're playing the Jets
The Jets. But
on
no,
Monday Night Football. That's
But
not
I
favorable.
believe the Jets are the number 2 defense against tight ends. If you can believe that.
Really.
Because I have Andrews and I was looking to start him and I elected not to.
I'm so scared of the Jets.
But yeah, Lamar's Lamar. It's next game, Bengals and the Browns. Joe
Battle of
Mixon.
Ohio.
Yeah, Joe Mixon apparently
Oh,
decided
Joe
to
Mixon.
take the first half of the season off. The last half of the season, he's been all right.
Welcome back.
The first half, not so much. It's Andy Dalton. I mean, what do we talk about this fantasy wise? There really was no big.
Not really. I think. Let's see here.
Like, I think Joe
Mixon
Mixon
had a good day.
I think Mixon is the fantasy star of this game, and that's a rough day if Joe Mixon was the big fantasy star.
Kareem Hunt got a touchdown.
Yeah. Jarvis Landry, 4 receptions for 76.
OBJ, irrelevant.
Yeah. There's another guy that's going to go on my bust list this year. Redskins at the Packers, a lot closer than we thought it would be, but I mean, the Pack won, and Aaron Jones, the leading rusher and receiver for Green Bay. Is Devontae Adams broken? What's going on with him?
Yeah, he was a big letdown. He let me down in one of my leagues.
You know who else let you down?
I don't know why. I don't know what happened to him.
He
got hurt early in the year, and then he was out a few weeks, and then he came back and was pretty strong for a while, and now seems like he's fading out again.
I mean, there are.
I was going to say, who knew?
Go ahead, Jack.
Go ahead.
I'll just say there are some leagues where he was the first receiver off the board, and he's definitely not lived up to that.
I saw something in one of the Facebook groups, fantasy football Facebook groups, is how many first rounders really were worth the crap this year. Think about it.
Not many.
Who was Zeke? Zeke probably was the best.
CMC.
And Zeke and CMC.
Was
but almost
Dalvin
everybody
Cook a
else.
first-rounder?
Le'Veon Bell was like 5th or 6th pick. He was a bust. Saquon was disappointing.
And Jack, to
Who was the
answer
third
your
pick in
question,
most-
depends on the league. Because there was a couple leagues where I had the first pick where Dalvin Cook was my second rounder. So it depended on the league.
Should have taken Boston Scott.
Yeah. Do we even know who he was 15 weeks ago?
Well, my first 2 picks were what? Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh, what now?
He was my first or second rounder, and I forget who my first rounder was, but it was another dud. I got to find.
Can you imagine if you took Wentz, O.J. Howard, maybe Mixon, Juju Smith-Schuster, man?
I had some mock drafts like that. Thank God they didn't pan out like in real life.
I took DeAndre Hopkins and Juju Smith-Schuster with my first 2 picks, which resulted in me in having subpar running backs, and Hopkins really didn't produce until late in the year. And
Josh Jacobs next year.
Smith-Schuster was just a complete bust. So, and I was stuck with running backs like Devin Singletary, Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, Josh Jacobs.
David Johnson.
Good.
David Johnson was one of the biggest.
That's got to be the bust.
I hate him.
Yeah, he evaporated. All right.
He went from the number 1 overall pick to oblivion in like the span of 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to say in this game, the one person that let you down was your bold prediction: Darius Geis over 100 yards, and he gets injured again.
China doll.
I don't like it. Come on, Darius Geis, stay healthy. You're fun to watch, bro.
No, he's got a bum knee. It always ends up being something with his knee. And well, speaking of bums, Lions at the Vikings.
Oh,
Oof.
Thank God I did not pick the Lions in my bold prediction.
Oof.
They held the Vikings to 20. That's respectable. But where was the offense?
I have to give a shout out to Kirk Cousins because I had 3 quarterbacks rostered in this league, and I had Drew Brees, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Kirk Cousins. And guess who I started? Kirk Cousins. Thank you for
Kirk.
Nothing.
Beat me up.
Yeah.
But
the fantasy in this game, it was Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs, Bo Scarborough. Yeah. Come on, ESPN.
The Vikings defense.
Yeah, there's really not much more to talk about with this one. Lions season is over. I picked them to go 1-15. I thought I was being cynical. Looks like my pick might not be that far off once the season ends. All right, next up, game of the week. This year's Rams versus Chiefs. The Niners at the Saints. I did not see this shootout coming at all.
I didn't.
I saw Nick Bosa and Cam Jordan. Who gets more sacks?
I benched Garoppolo and put Wentz in, and that didn't help
Breeze
me.
And Garoppolo.
Brutal.
And
but what a fun game to watch.
Yeah,
that was very fun to watch.
Some might say it's
I love that stat.
Some might say it's a
touchdowns
preview of the NFC Championship.
I believe it.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. The backfield in San Francisco, you still want none of it, but it looks like Raheem Mostert's going to be the guy coming
Raheem
out of there.
Mostert, my man.
Yeah.
I was not confident putting in waiver wire last week,
Got
and he showed
Emmanuel
up.
Sanders.
Yeah.
157 yards. And
Another guy I benched. Who did I bench him for? Tyrell Williams. Benched him for Tyrell Williams.
Wah,
Thinking
wah.
he has to play in probably the loudest stadium in the league, up there with Arrowhead and Seattle. And, it's tough defense, tough face to play. And, well, boy, was I wrong.
How many fantasy points did Drew Brees get?
Gosh,
Is
yeah,
he-
that-
let me see.
I think 50.
Yeah, it's
He
349
did
and
win MVP.
five
And,
touchdowns.
let me see. Hang on. I know
349 yards and 5 touchdowns.
yeah, by my
6 with a run with his legs.
and my
Monster.
my math
Let me
says
see.
that's like 70 fantasy points. Or no, wait. QB's
40.1.
Yeah, so 24 plus 35.
40.1.
Yeah, 54.
That's what this is.
Jesus. Not bad for a 39-year-old. Not bad for a guy who they said the sun was setting on him a couple seasons ago. Here we go. Dolphins at the Jets. Woo!
Here we go from the Niners to the Saints to the Dolphins and the Jets.
Yeah.
Well,
The two ends of the
Also
there's one
entertaining
comparison.
game.
There is one thing that they can draw a comparison on. That the kickers in that both those games are outstanding, with Robbie Gould's game winner, and Jason Sanders of the Miami Dolphins decided, hey, let's kick 7 field goals because our offense can't punch it in the red zone. So he kicked 7 field goals. That's one shy of the NFL record.
But
In a single
Sam
game.
Ficken kicked the winning field goal. So we had Robbie Gould and Sam Ficken, Penn State
Game winners.
alums, both won their games.
Yeah, I did not.
Last-minute kicks.
I did not think the Jets have won that many games this season, but apparently they have. They're 5-8. I mean, it's still terrible, but it's a lot. They got more wins than I thought they would get.
You think if you told that to Le'Veon Bell, he'd be happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another one I'd like to talk about. Thanks again for nothing. He gets that golden matchup against the Dolphins all year. I'm like, well, at least I'll have him against the Dolphins in the first week of the playoffs. And he gets the flu. The flu.
And
He's fine for this week.
what really hurts?
So I benched him and I picked up Benny Snell, who I think got me 1 point, maybe 2. They ask me why I drink.
I
What
saw
about
a
Josh
lot,
Jacobs
Beer
going out
nuts.
mid-game?
I saw a lot of guys this week playing Benny Snell, and I did not understand it.
Well, he had a huge day, like the week
You
before.
don't
And I'm
know,
like,
now you know.
well, and honestly, by the time I found out Bell wasn't playing, it was Slim
about
Pickens
5
on the
minutes
waiver
to game
wire,
time.
and Snell was a live body that was supposed to get the majority of the carries. But Snell rhymes with smell for a reason.
What really hurts is I took a loss to a team that had Le'Veon Bell in their lineup. That's what hurt.
Oh, that does hurt.
Bucks at the Colts. Boy, the Colts went from, hey, these guys aren't
Come
that...
on, Colts.
Yeah, they went from, hey, these guys aren't that bad, they're turning out how I thought they would. But James, is he contractually obligated to throw at least 2 picks a game this season? I heard
I told Jack at the beginning of the day, because I started him in one of my leagues, and I did lose, but he had a lot of points. But I said Winston is good for 400 yards and 4 picks. You get everything with him. He's just a gunslinger, and he had 4 touchdowns and 456 yards. But
yeah, but what?
I don't know
3
how many
picks?
picks he had. What do you have? 2 or 3?
Yeah, and I heard a
I don't know,
stat
when you watch
today.
the game and you see it happen, it's almost like whenever he throws a pass, it's 50-50 whether it's his own team or the other team going to catch it.
I heard
There's no running game there. We already know that. Ronald Jones is worthless.
Yeah,
So it's just
Although-
he'll
he'll probably have a career day against the Lions this week.
Ooh,
if he plays.
Darius Slay. Listen,
I mean, I did hear a stat about Jameis Winston today that just made me go, wow. For the season, Jameis Winston has just as many picks as Aaron Rodgers does in his entire career.
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers, who started playing
that's great.
10 years before Jameis Winston, Jameis Winston has as many picks this season as Aaron Rodgers does his whole career.
That is an amazing stat.
Yeah.
Will the Buccaneers re-sign him though? Like I don't know because. Ooh, Eli Manning. Ooh,
What's that? I have a couple of friends who are Bucks fans, and I'll say to you the same thing that I say to or that they say to me when I ask the same question: who they going to sign? Who's out there?
I feel like Cam Newton would be a great fit. I mean, they have great wide receivers. They got Godwin and Evans, and it just seems like a younger guy that can move his legs. Because I mean, at least in my opinion, I think Cam Newton's like a scramble guy.
Isn't Cam Newton?
If he ever
older?
comes back from that foot.
Well, too, and isn't Cam Newton older than Winston? Isn't he like 2 or 3 years older than him? 'Cause Winston came out the same year as Mariota, and I know Cam Newton came out didn't he come out the year after?
There you
Stafford?
go, Mariota.
Ugh.
There you go. The contract talks this week. Ryan Tannehill might get that extension. They like him, and Mr. Mariota's currently out of a job, so this is going to be interesting. Considering I don't know how many years later, because they could have taken Mariota. Or I forget what the draft order was, but I know these two guys were taken almost back to back since it was the same class, and that would be so weird if they end up starting Mariota.
Yeah.
So they would have started both quarterbacks. Oh, that's just interesting.
And that were both up for
Mariota
Heisman
seems like
too.
Mariota is like a worse Cam Newton.
Yeah. All right. This next game, you know how I said last week, all that New England lost did was confuse me about Houston. Here is Exhibit B. They lost to the Broncos. I don't know who you are,
That
Houston.
third straight bold prediction. Give me that.
I don't know who you are, Houston. I don't know who you are.
They don't either.
Future Hall of Famer.
Yeah. John
I
Elway
will
might have
say
himself a
that
quarterback.
He wanted
The
to
way
sign
that-
Phillip Rivers.
I will say that the game flow of that game really disturbed me because the Texans were down so much early that you knew that Watson was going to get huge numbers and Hopkins would get huge numbers, and that is what happened. But what we didn't see coming is Drew Lock,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
309 yards and 3 touchdowns against the
I'm loving it.
Texans. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Drew Lock. Is this going to be a one-hit wonder like Daniel Jones? Or is this going to be the beginning of a new era in Denver? We'll tune in next week to find out.
Yeah. Chargers at the Jaguars. Where you been, Chargers? Where you been?
Austin Eckler, a one-man wrecking crew, had 101 yards receiving, or 101 yards rushing, and 112 yards receiving with a touchdown.
Who is
Monster.
Melvin?
Didn't he have like a really long one near the end? He had like 39 points in our big money league and propelled a team that otherwise didn't do much to a victory because of one guy. So if you had Austin Eckler, you were a happy camper. And not so much if you had Melvin Gordon. I don't think he had a big day. See what we had from Mr. Gordon.
Oh, trash.
Melvin Gordon, 12 for 55, and he got a touchdown. So not a complete loss, but Eckler certainly overshadowed him. Phillip Rivers didn't throw a pick. That's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Oh,
314 yards, 3 touchdowns. Even Keenan Allen got a touchdown. No, he didn't. I thought he did. He had 5 for 83. Never mind. I thought he had one. Oh, Mike Williams got one. Hunter Henry got one. Everybody but Keenan Allen scored.
Yeah.
That was another disappointing pick for me this year.
Let's see. Titans at the Raiders. The Titans are 8-5. What the hell? They've won 4 in a row.
Tannehill has brought them back.
Yeah.
Tannehill was probably going to be a potential pickup if you're desperate for a quarterback, and he's still out there.
Well, yeah, 391, 3 TDs. That's streaming worthy.
And there's my guy, Derrick Henry.
Yep. It's
Continues.
yeah. He finally played a whole season.
Jack's
It's been quite a season.
guy, A.J. Brown. Holy smokes.
I love that man. I honestly, he's a great
150
great
yards
guy.
and 2 touchdowns.
He leads the team in receiving.
It seems like him and
Somebody
Tannehill.
Corey
has
Davis,
to-
get out of here.
Yeah, it seems like
Just
him
click.
and Tannehill got a thing going on.
It's weird
I'm
seeing the
Going to continue
Titans.
to ride that Derrick Henry train in our league.
Yeah.
In our league.
He seems to be worth 20,
I had
30
to buy
points a
this-
week. Why not?
And now he's got a passing attack, so it keeps the defenses guessing. They can't just stack the box on him.
It's weird not seeing the Titans mediocre. So is this their first time out of the mediocrity conversation since what, Super Bowl 34?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Which is odd.
Let's see the Chiefs at the Patriots. I'm not.
Chiefs didn't almost get their gear.
Yeah, and I'll just say this: I'm not with everyone else. I'm not ready to pronounce the Patriots dead on arrival. I'm not, especially since they're playing the Bengals next week. But the Patriots, that backfield's a problem. Sony Michel has been pretty much absent the entire year.
That's sad too.
Yeah,
I picked him. I drafted him in a few leagues, and I just put him in flex every week, hoping he develops, and he never does anything. It's just.
If you got Patrick Mahomes, keep an eye out. He's got a hand injury. I don't know.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, everything I saw today said he's going to be all right. Again, the Chiefs' backfield, you want none of it. And it seems like the only
Edelman,
the only Patriot that did anything, or him and James White, really. But although at 11 carries,
it's Russian roulette with the Chiefs receivers. Right after I cut McCole Hardman, he got a bomb.
Yeah, but his first bomb since week 2.
That's why he's been cut.
Yeah.
Well,
it's Russian roulette with those receivers. We all know that.
Pretty much Russian roulette with that team except Mahomes.
They are missing Gronk.
Tyreek Hill,
bad
when he's healthy.
Mm. And yeah,
the Patriots are missing Gronk like that.
Yeah, you are correct there, Jack.
Speaking of tight ends, I have to say, I forgot to say it. I completely forgot about it. That Saints game, Jared Cook. Are you kidding me? Because I benched him for, I don't even know, I think it was either Zach Ertz or, no, I think it was Zach Ertz. And oh my gosh, I was regretting it. But I think Zach Ertz actually got all the points back. But Jared Cook would have just come out of nowhere the week I bench you. Thanks for nothing. But sat on the bench this week.
Oh, he's injured now. So.
Oh, great.
Steelers at the Cardinals. Another team that's all of a sudden 8-5. The Steelers.
This game was in Pittsburgh. If you had no clue, because it
was a home game for Pittsburgh in the desert.
It was.
Yeah.
Terrible towels won full force.
But
there was no sea of red to be seen. It was all black and gold. Ticket prices were through the roof. I looked it up. They were like 10 times what we paid for the Rams tickets the week before. You couldn't get a ticket to the Steelers visiting Arizona.
But I could tell you though,
the Steelers, man, they're I don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah,
but, their defense, I guess, is probably the answer.
I say because on this show and on Sporgy, we have none of us have been nice, and we've essentially called Pittsburgh a big old pile this year. But they're a big old pile of 8-5. So, like you said, they just keep finding ways to get it done.
What would Ray Lewis say right now?
Yeah, but I mean, too, it's one thing though.
I wonder how many people had Deontay Johnson on their fantasy roster.
Yeah,
defense wins championships. That's all I have to say.
But too, it's
Pittsburgh. I don't see a championship in the future, though.
Pittsburgh is being Pittsburgh, though, because we talk about this on Sport G every season, and we fall for it every year, and this year's no exception. They're a second-half team. Justin, you're about ready to say everything's over in Pittsburgh. They show up in the second half, and they've done it again this year.
Like Tomlin.
Yeah, it especially, too, they're on all their backups. They're on their backup quarterback, their backup receivers, their backup running backs, and they're still getting it done. So look
at all the rookies on this team.
I got to tip my hat to Mike Tomlin. We talk about all this talk about how in New England it's the system. It could be the system in Pittsburgh as well.
Could be Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's a good motivator.
Mm-hmm.
Gets the most out of his team. Plays to his team's strengths and weaknesses.
And he's got
great coaching.
And he's holding on to a playoff berth with a pile of scrubs. So good for him. The night game, the Seahawks and the Rams.
Yeah, just when you were just about ready to give up on the Rams, they look like they're making a little run now. I didn't expect them to hold the Seahawks. I believe the Seahawks didn't have a touchdown, correct? It was like the first time in like 43 games or something for them, no touchdown.
I just wonder.
I think they scored.
I'm not sure if the Rams just got up for this game or Seattle's just banged up. I'm not sure about this game, quite honestly, because I mean, your leading receiver on the Rams is still Tyler Higbee, is a tight end. So I don't know. Seahawks will be in the playoffs. The Rams, I'm not so sure of.
And I'm still not sold that Todd Gurley is right. He had 23 carries for 79 yards and a touchdown, but you give the old Todd Gurley 23 carries,
he's getting 130 yards.
150 yards.
Yeah.
But that could be the Rams' offensive line, too.
Mm-hmm.
Might not be off early, but clearly he's not the bell cow he once was.
Well, speaking of offensive lines, the Monday night game.
Oh, yes. This was boring.
And that was truly offensive, especially the Eagles' first half. As an Eagles fan, it was absolutely brutal. I broke out the barley wine to get me through it. But they did somehow dig deep and find a way to pull this thing out. But the first half was certainly the Eli Manning show. Eagles secondary gave up 2 big bombs and couldn't tackle to save their life. Things looked very bleak at halftime, but somehow Carson Wentz pulled it out. 325 yards and 2 touchdowns with hardly any receivers remaining healthy. Josh McCown nearly had to come in to play receiver, the backup quarterback. But Zach Ertz got it done. So they lived to fight another day.
Boston Scott, you are a god. Practice squad, turn up. That was a practice squad game right there. Josh Perkins.
Greg Ward.
Boston Scott, give me that.
Hey, and this is a guy that I actually picked up and started in 2 leagues last week, Darius Slayton. Knowing how poor the Eagles there is, he delivered in a big way. 5 receptions, 154 yards, and 2 scores. So kudos to me for that. At least did something right. But it was a painful game to watch, but
it's a painful game to listen to. Booger McFarland, you're getting like to Joe Buck status. Come on, bro. You're just unbelievably annoying. It is hard.
I don't know.
And does anybody think this is the end of the road? Do you think he'll play another year?
I think he'll play somewhere else. I can't see him being in New York. It'd
be
nice if they signed him as like the quarterback's coach or something. That'd be cool, but I don't think they will.
He did say that he doesn't want to coach.
He does or does not?
He does not want to coach.
Oh, never mind.
He said he did not want to coach and he does not want to be a backup. So unless somebody's willing to give him a starting gig, he might hang it up. But
who needs a quarterback?
Tampa Bay, maybe.
I personally think this is the farewell tour for Eli. I don't think Danny Dimes is hurt. I think they're putting him in for the last few games so he can go out.
I think Danny Dimes is hurt, but I think it's the perfect setup to, I just got a feeling when I saw at the end of the game all the Eagles players going over and giving Eli, high fives and hugs and everything. It looked the part of a farewell tour.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you could even sense it on the broadcast when they were talking about him and they were showing his wife up there in the box.
Peyton Manning. They kept showing Peyton Manning.
Was even at the game. So you just get the feeling that this is kind of the swan song here.
Yeah, he's not going out with a title like his brother.
One statistic that I saw last night is he was 116 and 116 as a starter. And so now, after last night's debacle, he does have a losing record. So they were saying, how many quarterbacks with a losing record made the Hall of Fame? Because he's going to make it.
It was only 3. He's going to be the 4th one.
But to be fair, he's got 2 rings. Multiple rings generally get you in.
Doesn't matter how you get there.
Yeah.
You got the ring. Somebody gets to kiss the ring.
Yep.
Give me the gold jacket.
Yeah. His last name being Manning also probably helps him as well.
Sporgy. ChristopherMedia.net.
It's Wild Card Weekend, and you can follow all the action at BetOnline.net. For the first time in league history, 6 games are on the board during the opening round of the playoffs. Feature games Saturday include Indy at Buffalo and LA at Seattle. On Sunday, Chicago visits the Big Easy, while divisional rivals Cleveland and Pittsburgh square off. Check out all the action this week at BetOnline.net as the journey to Tampa gets underway. Always available online or your mobile device. Visit BetOnline.net today. Bring the game home at BetOnline.net.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
All right, Jack. Time for MVP lineup.
Lineup, quarterback. Purdue Boilermaker, Drew Brees. 29 completions, 349 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns. I got 1 rushing yard on 1 rush, and he also got a rushing touchdown. So 1 rush, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. I like it. And the running back, wow, Austin Eckler, 8 rushes. Again, 8 rushes for 101 yards. 405 in the air, 112 receiving yards, and a receiving touchdown. I think that right there is the definition of passing back. If you're picking up 112 receiving yards and a touchdown as a running back, you need to be called the receiving back because that was just insane. And then my man Aaron Jones, I think he's going to be I think he's going to be a first-round pick next year. 16 rushes, 134 yards, rushing touchdown, 6 of 7 in the air for a nice 58 yards. That's nice. That's somewhere around 13 points on the ground. Got another 5 in the air and plus touchdown points. That's a great chunk of points right there. And then wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders. Wow, I think this is the first time all year that we have had somebody other than a quarterback with passing statistics. Because Emmanuel Sanders 1 completion for 35 passing yards and a passing touchdown, and then caught 7 of 9 in the air for 157 yards and a touchdown. So
that's right. I forgot that happened, that he threw that touchdown.
Well, in a game that looked like a 2016 Pac-12 3-overtime game, that's what I thought it looked like because everybody was just slinging the ball. At one point there was 8 touchdowns and only 4 incompletions. That was kind of insane. But then wacky stuff like this happens where you got your wide receiver throwing for a 35-yard touchdown. But that's great. And then my man, the best Brown in the league, A.J. Brown, 1 rush, 13 rushing yards, 5 of 7 for 153 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. That's his cousin's number, a.k.a. Antonio Brown. But he continues to show out, I think. The Corey Davis hype is over, and I think it's all him now.
A.J. Brown is also related to Antonio Brown? Just like Marquise Brown? Jesus, how many of his cousins are in the league?
And he isn't in the league.
Yeah. He'll be in our fantasy bus next week.
And then defense and special teams, I think, how many times have we said this? The Pittsburgh defense? Oh, this is a long stat line. 17 points allowed, 5 sacks, 3 picks, 111 return yards, a returning touchdown, 2 4-down stops, 9 tackles for loss, and then 2 3-and-outs.
They seem to be the defense of the second half. The first half, it was the defense to own was the Patriots. The second half, it seems to be the Steelers.
And then the kicker. Now, this was since kickers are people too, this was an outstanding performance. Special team coach loves it when you get a total of 7 field goals in a game, 3 20-to-29 yarders, 2 30-to-39 yarders, a 40 to 49 yarder, and a 50 yarder. So that would rack you up an average total of around 241.4 points. That's if you somehow started A.J. Brown in a playoff game while starting the Dolphins kicker, while also starting Drew Brees against the San Francisco defense. Then I don't know what you're doing, but something's working.
Well, they have like 300 points.
Yeah, and I just realized I skipped tight end Zach Ertz, 9 of 13, 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. So somehow he made MVP line. Oh, well, never mind, Jared Cook, you're off the hook. So,
yeah, well, somebody who's not off the hook, that I just saw an article I hadn't seen before, that Le'Veon Bell went bowling on Saturday night, the night before he missed a game with the flu, and he bowled a 251.
Oh, yes.
Thanks again, Bell. And he's like, I don't feel about what I did. I didn't break any rules. I wasn't a distraction until now. He joked about it, noting that he bowled a career-high 251 coming off the flu. That's all I need to read.
Hey.
Thanks again.
Hey, he's 5-8. He's 5-8.
Sat on him all year, figuring he's going to have a huge day against the Dolphins.
He's one of the
And he decides to go bowling.
He's one of the best running backs in the league. He's on a 5-8 team. He's pissed. That's showing that he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
It's a statement to the organization, like you screwed. You're mad.
I'm
I'm
going bowling. See ya.
31 other places to go.
I'm guessing that he probably won't suit up again for the Jets.
I would bet on
wrong.
that. You
play this week.
can't be wrong. Why would he ever play? This sad
Lance
franchise.
It's a penalty. Adam Gase said, "What am I going to discipline him for? I can't tell him you have to stay in your house." Bill gave his sad story. Say he wanted to play, but he had dropped 9 pounds. But healthy enough to bowl a 251. Okay,
not bad.
All right.
Maybe he pulled the Michael Jordan, right? You know, where he had the flu and he
Enough of that.
played out of his mind.
I can say that with certainty that he will not be drafted by me in any leagues next year. I'm,
Yeah.
dead to me.
All right. Well, Jack, I know it's week 15, but waivers. Anyone worth picking up this week?
Well, last week, quote unquote, Lazard King, extremely disappointing. Rough at 2 catches for 19 yards. Woo. It's sad. It is beyond sad. But I'm just going to skip over him because I have nothing more to say because Alan was already disappointed. But then my man Raheem Mostert in the blowout, 10 rushes. 69, well, not in the blowout, but in the shootout. 10 rushes, 69 yards, rushing touchdown, 2 of 2 in the air for 40 yards and a receiving touchdown. That's 2 touchdowns. Again, we don't want to touch the backfield of San Francisco, but if you have to, my man Raheem Mostert seems to be the feature guy. Sorry, Matt Breida. Sorry, Tevin Coleman, but Raheem Mostert is the man. And then the man made of glass, Darius Geis, running back for the Washington Redskins, decided to get hurt again, so he only got 5 rushes for 42 rushing yards. So Adrian Peterson getting the backup carries for that. I think he got a touchdown too. So, but branching into this week, a team that I wish the Eagles had this. I don't know if we've never heard of it. I mean, my dad. It's called depth at the wide receiver position, and this is something that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have because R.I.P. Mike Evans goes out with injury, and it's looking bleak that he's going to play the rest of the year. And while Chris Godwin will be the feature guy, we're seeing a situation when Tyreek Hill got hurt in Kansas City where some random guy shows up and he gets tons of points. So in this case, we have Brashad Perryman with 3 catches for 70 yards, a touchdown. So give me that. And he's playing the Detroit Lions next week. So we know how that goes. So let's say we have a situation where Godwin gets Darius Slay, gets the double team, and either Brashad Perryman, I think there's another one. I think that's like Justin Evans or something like that. But there's a few other guys out there that, I mean, maybe are worth a pickup if you have enough faith that Godwin will just get double teamed and these guys are going to get all the Jameis Winston points. But you never know. But our tight end, Hayden Hurst. Andrews has a starting role, but he's a little hurt, and Hayden Hurst decided to catch 3 balls for 71 yards and a touchdown. That's amazing. That's almost the exact same stat as Brashad Perryman, off by 1 yard, but that was in Buffalo. That's what I thought was the key. In Buffalo, against that tough defense, he managed to catch a touchdown and got 71 yards off of only 3 catches. And we've got a favorable matchup next week when, at home, they play the New York Jets. So, I mean, Mr. John Harbaugh, if Andrews says that he's ready to go, there's really no reason to start him because Hayden Hurst exists and you're playing the Jets, so I wouldn't be too worried. And then I'm going to be honest with you, it was it's a tough week for waiver wires again. There is no bye weeks anymore, and I don't like doing repeats, so I really couldn't find anybody, so I looked to my left and I saw the eagle on the left side of my jersey, and I decided, hey, give me Boston Scott at the running back position for the Eagles. 10 rushes and 59 yards, rushing touchdown, 6 of 6 in the air, 69 yards. So when the Eagles legit have nobody to throw to, they will throw to the running back, the practice squad running back, and the only healthy running back. So he caught 6 balls. And I love my notes here. Practice squad to turn up. We shall see next week. You've got the Redskins in Washington. So we shall see.
Greg Ward, another practice squad player.
Greg Ward, give me that. For how many practice squad people we have on this game. It is just, jeez.
Jay,
Man, I can't believe.
I should have made a beer bet with you that Deshaun Jackson was going to play again.
Yeah. You'd won.
I just think he's old. He's hurt. I think the Philly signing was kind of like when they signed Iverson for like a day as a Sixer, so he could retire I kind of think that's what they're doing with Deshaun Jackson. Bring him back for final season as an Eagle. He can retire as an Eagle because he hasn't played since.
Well, he sure played good for 1 week, and that was it.
Yeah, he's been out since what? Week 2, week 3.
I've seen week 2. I've seen because I follow him and like on social media and stuff. He always was like the comeback next year, so he's hyping up the comeback. But
I'll believe it when I see it.
You have to get signed, sir. Spending a whole season
Hey, I just wanted to mention.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, didn't want to cut in on that, but wanted to mention one pickup this week that wasn't mentioned. DeAndre Washington.
Yes, I was going to include him, but he didn't do much because I thought, well, he did much, but I didn't think I thought Jacobs was going to play next week, but he was going to go in for Scott, but I didn't want to put him in because I figured it would be worthless considering Jacobs' start.
Well, I'm reading that Jacobs has a fractured shoulder plate.
Oh, that's not good.
A serious injury. It could be the end of his season.
No, it is because I read shortly before he went on, the Ravens signed, or not the Ravens, the Raiders signed some running back. So yeah, that's to me that says that says what they think about what Josh Jacobs' injury. He's done. Some guy named Rod.
It's a shame
something.
because he had a great season.
I feel bad for the man.
He'll get Rookie of the Year.
A great season, and a lot of us relied on him heavily, and now here we are in the fantasy in the playoffs, and he's not there to help us. But
please, Josh Jacobs, do not become the Joe Mixon. Please don't do it. Do not become the Joe Mixon.
Or don't become Saquon, where you have the sophomore slump next year.
Oh no, that would be horrible. Because I have a lot of faith coming.
But he'll get Rookie of the Year. Who would compete? Who's competing with him? Maybe Nick Bosa.
Well, there's defensive and offensive, so Nick Bosa will win defensive, and then we'll just have the offensive. Actually, there might be. Is there one? I think there is one for Grant, like Rookie of the Year. I think Bosa will win. But I don't know who. I don't think anybody contests him for offensive. I can't think of one offensive rookie that I've even heard his name. Maybe Hollywood Brown, but then again, no, not even close.
Not yet. No, you got to be consistent. And Hollywood Brown, he's a boomer bust.
All right. J. Brown? No, he's boomer.
Sporgy.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're gonna have
pop stars with auto-tune. And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Sporgy.
Let's get on to this week. Start with Thursday night, Jets at the Ravens. You're starting Lamar. You're starting Mark Ingram. You're starting Mark Andrews if he's healthy. Are you starting any Jets?
Didn't Lamar pull a quad or something? Isn't he?
I think
he might not run like he has been.
He
might have to baby that quad a little.
He came out today and said,
they should put Trace McSorley in.
Well, he came out today and said he's playing Thursday. I'm wondering if these quote-unquote injuries are just them giving him rest in a short week. I still don't think Joe Flacco's injured. I think Joe Flacco ran his mouth, then the owner went, that's it, you're done. Let's see here.
Good for the Broncos, Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Give me that.
But the whole point of that is, like I said, I think Lamar Jackson's injury is like Joe Flacco's. I think they're just saying it so that he can get some rest on a short week. Sunday, Pats will bounce back because they're playing the Bengals. Start all Patriots. It's rare you're going to hear us say that. But, yeah, or I should say you start Tom Brady, you start Julian Edelman. Bengals, you're starting Mixon. I hate to say it, but last half of the season he's actually come on.
Volume.
Yeah. But I don't think you don't want any of the Bengals passing game, and you want none of the Patriots backfield. I'm guessing by your guys' silence, you agree with me there. It's really good.
I'm looking forward to the New England.
I have no arguments.
Yeah. New England defense should have a nice day.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Bucks at the Lions. The Lions secondary blows, so start Chris Godwin.
Is famous Jameis playing? I heard he got dinged up too, didn't he?
Yeah, for a series, he sat out for a series. He was back in,
so he'll play.
Yeah.
He'll play in the dome.
Lions can't stop the run, so
100 yards and 3 picks.
Yeah, the Lions can't stop the run, so Ronald Jones should have a career day. Yeah,
I'm going to predict 407 passing yards, 3 interceptions, 5 touchdowns. And why not give me a rushing touchdown and a fumble lost? So that's either a turnover or a touchdown every series.
However,
famous Jameis.
He's playing the Lions. He could look he could look like a goddamn superstar by the end of Sunday.
He could.
I mean, we made Trubisky look viable. Just saying. We lost to the Redskins. Yeah, as far as Lions, it's like what? It's Kenny Galladay end of list, right? Because Marvin Jones went on IR today.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, while you were saying that, I was actually dropping him. Because I got a notification on my Yahoo thing, and it says, Marvin Jones has been dropped in like 41,000 leagues. And I'm like, why has Marvin Jones been dropped in 41,000 leagues? And I go over to his name, and I see that fat IR. So while he was warming the bench for a long time, he will have to give up his position going into the playoffs.
All right, Bears at the Packers.
The Bears.
Which Trubisky's going to show up in Lambeau?
The one that's playing against the Packers. I think Mitch Trubisky goes back to being Mitch Trubisky this week, quite honestly. Even
I do too.
All of a sudden, the Bears are above 500, so
That's just seems the Bears do. They get their fans' hopes up, and then they come back to reality. I think Aaron Rodgers will take care of business. Aaron Jones, well, Chicago's got a tight defense. It might not be probably low scoring.
Well, Mac.
Yeah, but
17-10, 24 or 20-17, 20-14, something like that.
Yeah, only the Bears, the vaunted Bears defense has been pretty banged up this year, though, unfortunately. But yeah, offensively for the Bears, you want Allen Robinson. That's about it. Texans at the Titans. Battle for first in the NFC South.
Which Houston Texans
AFC
team is
South.
going to show up?
Yeah, that is a very good question because in the last 2 weeks they've beaten the Patriots and lost to the Broncos. So yeah,
Tennessee playing kind of rejuvenated with Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be an interesting one. I could see a Tennessee pulling the upset here.
I could see Derrick Henry running all over the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I'd say as far as fantasy starters, you're starting Watson, you're starting D-Hop, you're starting Derrick Henry. Anyone else?
I would not take a tight.
Yeah,
maybe.
Neither of these teams tight ends, and then
I would not pick a defense.
And I'd say maybe.
What about AJ Brown?
I'd say maybe Tannehill and AJ Brown are like Tannehill's a streamer. AJ Brown's like a flex, like a deep flex.
It's a Hail Mary, but
yeah. Like maybe you own Juju Smith-Schuster. I would recommend maybe picking up A.J. Brown.
What did you say happened to you? My dad told me something. Somebody was out, and like the guy playing him picked up like 4 guys. Who was that?
That was the guy I was playing against. I had Evan Ingram in my lineup, and I had Ryan Griffin as my tight ends.
Oof.
And Ryan Griffin actually was healthy at the beginning of the game, but went out like in the first quarter and never came back. And I looked down at the transactions, and the guy playing against me picked up like 4 tight ends, trying to block me from getting anybody to replace Ingram. I guess he saw all I had was Ryan Griffin and thought I was going to pick another tight end up.
Well, the game had already started, wouldn't it have?
No, but he did this obviously before the deadline. So he was trying his darndest to block me from picking anybody up that could help me. And he did win. But kind of a shyster move, but within the rules.
It's within the rules.
It's within the rules, but you know what? He's still in the show, and I'm in the 5th place game, and I'm ahead of him on the waiver wire, and I looked at his roster, and there may be some revenge this week.
You know what he did? He pulled a Belichick. He walked right up to the line. Because that's what Bill does. Belichick is a master of walking right up to the line but not stepping over it. And that's what that guy did. You got Belichicked.
Got me last week, but I'm going to get revenge.
There you go.
Because he has a weakness, and let's just say DeAndre Washington won't be on his roster.
There you go. Broncos at the Chiefs. You're starting Mahomes. It's Mahomes and Kelsey on the Chiefs, right? That's it, as far as people that are locked in starters.
Tyreek Hill injured.
Tyreek Hill, yeah.
Yeah, but
Tyreek Hill healthy.
I'm not sure, but I was looking at the fantasy stats for the year. Tyreek Hill is in like the bottom of the.
Well, he's been hurt a lot
of receivers. Yeah.
He came back that one game.
He's healthy. I'm starting.
Yeah, same. I just can't not start him. You look at his name. You're like Tyreek Hill. You're like, what? You can't not start Tyreek Hill.
It's true.
How do you put Tyreek Hill on the bench?
And as far as I'm concerned, Denver is just full of flex plays. There is nobody on Denver you are starting.
Courtland Sutton.
Yeah, and again, flex play. Yuck.
Especially at Arrowhead. We'll see if the Drew Lock magic continues. I have a feeling Arrowhead's going to be a tough place for him to continue.
Yeah.
With that kind of success.
Yep. All right, and in a battle for draft picks, the Dolphins playing the Giants.
Remember, the key here is to lose.
Oof.
Well, here we go. The Eli Manning farewell tour continues. I like the Giants. It's one I think that, who knows, though.
Yeah.
Since this game is
the week Saquon has a big day.
Yeah, I'll say this. As much shit as I talked about him, you're starting Saquon. But that's it on the Giants. That is it on the Giants. Slayton's maybe a flex play. Evan Ingram if he comes back. But you always got to be wary of first week back from an injury with anybody. And then on the Dolphins, Fitzmagic is a streamer at best. And then Devontae.
Start the kicker.
Yeah, Devontae
Parker.
If Devontae Parker's out of the concussion protocol, you start him.
This is going to be weird because this is an odd, because I think this could be the first week where the opposing team is playing 2 consecutive away games in the same stadium, because they're playing in MetLife for the second straight week. That must be weird.
Someone else
instead of going
that.
Back home.
Someone else did that at the beginning of the season. It was they played the Jets and then they played the Giants and then they played the Jets. I think it was a West Coast team. I forget. But moving on to the Eagles and the Redskins.
Please get it done, guys. Please do not fail me.
And that's about it for the Eagles, right?
Maybe Wentz if you're desperate.
Yeah.
I would say Eagles defense, but I can't.
No, the Eagles defense only scored 3 points against the Giants. But you never know, because you do have a rookie quarterback in Washington. Could be a chance for a pick 6 there.
Yeah. And then you're starting no Redskins.
As an Eagles fan, I actually have to watch this debacle, so.
Well, we feel for you.
Yeah, and then
you'll be watching it too.
Zero Redskins get started. The zero Redskins are flex plays. Maybe McLaurin if you're desperate.
Well, no Darius Geis now, so you can start Peterson if you're hurting.
AP, give me that.
It's volume, yeah. Seahawks at the Panthers.
This would have been a good game about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Chris Carson owners, you don't have to worry about Rashad Penny.
Yep.
He's out for the season.
See ya.
Or his ACL.
Oh.
So it's the Chris Carson show, fumbleitis or not.
Yeah.
He's the man. He's no longer going to be losing carries to Penny because Penny's gone. So
Tyler Lockett, please show up
with confidence.
I hope friggin' Lockett has just been invisible the past couple weeks.
DK Metcalf.
I like DK Metcalf. I picked him up on I drafted him in a lot. I actually drafted him in a lot of leagues. I think I have him in the majority of my leagues. I have him in a couple leagues, but he is kind of touchdown dependent. He's getting a little bit better, a little bit more consistent, but he does have a low floor. Although the Eagles just missed drafting him.
Let's see.
Eagles take any wide receiver with a pulse right now.
Yeah. But
Carolina CMC.
Yeah, in this game, don't get cute. It's
DJ
fantasy
Moore.
playoffs. You're starting CMC. You're starting Russell Wilson.
I'm going to do what I did last week and say, are you taking a tight end in this game?
Well, I think Olsen's hurt, right?
He was in the concussion protocol. He should probably be out of it by, I'm guessing,
So,
but he's old.
I'd probably start him if you don't have anything better.
DJ Moore
Hollister is probably a tight end too.
Yeah, DJ Moore's a flex play.
Seattle defense?
Maybe.
Wait, where is the game? Is it in Carolina?
It's in Carolina.
Okay. I'd say surefire if it was in Seattle. Maybe a little iffy. Just
Road
because
team is
CMC
favored.
exists.
Seattle's traveling east. They're still favored.
Ooh, yeah, we've had a few
on the road
debacles.
this year.
But we have seen a few times this year where jet lag has played a big role. I think the biggest one of the year was probably the Packers when they completely just didn't exist against the Chargers. There's been just a few other games this year where jet lag has been an issue.
Well,
we shall
Seattle
see.
had no problems with the Eagles.
That's true.
Well, the Eagles
Seattle's
when they don't
undefeated
exist.
on the road this year, I believe, aren't they?
They are 6-1 away.
Oh, they did lose to the 49ers, I think.
So that's pretty for road record. That's pretty good.
I think they'll beat Carolina. Carolina
for sure.
Yeah, I think in Seattle.
Jags at the Raiders. Is this the last Raiders home game, or is it in 2 weeks?
I think it's in 2 weeks.
Black hole.
Moving to Vegas. But Jesus, in this.
Leonard Fournette, thanks for nothing last week, bud. Appreciate it.
He's the only must start, really. Chark is week to week. Jacobs
DeAndre Washington, if you're desperate.
Yeah.
If he's available on the waiver wire, or if you want to block him from somebody else.
Well, wait, hold up. This is the last home game in the Oakland Coliseum.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, it is. They play in the soccer stadium next week, and they head to Mile High and play the Broncos.
Oh.
Week 17. Wow.
End of an era.
This game might just be worth
on.
watching just to watch the fans.
Oh, yeah. You got to think that Oakland will pull this
Black
out.
hole.
You got to think they'll dig deep. There are going to be some emotions there.
Yeah. Browns at the Cardinals. Nick Chubb. As far as
Kyler
must
Murray.
starts, Nick Chubb, right? That's about it.
Kyler Murray, maybe.
I'm not buying the people that are preaching, pick up David Njoku, and Njoku's good. Njoku's back. I know he had one catch last week for nothing. But
Well,
pick up
remember,
Njoku.
though, Arizona's the worst at defending tight ends. It's almost a given that any tight end placing the Cardinals is going to be successful. So if Njoku's available on waivers and you're desperate, pick him up. I mean, plug and play any tight end against Arizona.
Another game where the road team is favored, and they're coming west.
Yeah, the only Cardinal that's on any of my rosters is Zach Gonzalez, the kicker.
See,
He actually is having a pretty good year.
I got Kyler Murray on one team. I got their kicker on a few teams. And I got Kenyon Drake on a couple teams. He has been serviceable.
Chase Edmonds in the IR slot in one league. That's it.
Drake has been serviceable. That's the best I'll give you on Kenyon Drake. Getting into the afternoon. Actually, we're already in the afternoon slate here. My bad. The Vikings at the Chargers. Pretty obvious here. Dalvin Cook, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, Stephon Diggs.
Maybe Rivers.
Yeah. Thielen if he comes back. I'm starting to think Thielen might be done for the year.
Kyle Rudolph.
Maybe.
He has been.
Who else?
He has been scoring touchdowns.
Yeah,
I guess
his last month has been good.
Playoffs. But I mean,
you know who's not rooting for Thielen to come back? Kyle Rudolph. He seems to be the one who's benefited. Well, not the most, but he's benefited quite a bit from no Adam Thielen because it seems to be when he's come on.
You're probably starting Diggs, but beware because
just beware. It's the kind of season he's had this year. Yeah. Usually he's money in the bank. This season, not so much. This is going to be a good game. Rams at the Cowboys.
Rams are hot. Dallas is not. But we know the NFL. Right when you think you have it figured out, you don't have it figured out. So
the thing, why I think this game will be good is both of these teams are playing for their playoff lives. Rams, every game is, I heard it on a podcast today, and it's true, from here on out, every game is a playoff game for the Rams. They have to win every game. If they want to even think about going to the playoffs, they have to win out. And Cowboys, well, they're in the NFC least. So
all the Cowboys have to do is beat the Eagles next week, the week after this. And I think no matter what happens, they'll win. They'll have the top over the Eagles. But
go ahead.
But I expect Dallas. I actually expect Dallas to play pretty well at home. I think
I do too.
We all saw Jerry Jones practically crying after the last loss, which was thoroughly enjoyable. But I just think that Dallas is going to dig deep in this game and give the Rams everything they got.
Yeah, and again, it's a fantasy playoffs, second week. Don't get cute. If you got Dak, Zeke, or Amari, you're starting them.
Yep.
You're starting Cooper Kupp. And a name it's shown up in the last few weeks. About damn time. You're starting Robert Woods.
Higby.
Maybe.
I'm struggling to hold on to that.
Yeah, I hovered over him on waivers for a couple teams.
If you're desperate.
Yeah. Falcons at the Niners. Well, Atlanta, you had a good run, but it ends this week. You're starting Matt Ryan. You're starting Julio. You're starting Austin Hooper. You're starting Jimmy G. You're starting George Kittle. But as far as everyone else in San Francisco, Sanders is probably a flex play.
I would say.
And then
you got to be pretty desperate to put Mostert in. But
yeah, it's San Francisco, the run heaviest team in the league this year, but probably the most running back by committee team as well. I mean, they got a 3-headed monster. Well, it's 2-headed right now, but Breida gets healthy. Yeah. And then the night game, the Bills at the Steelers.
This is gonna be a great game.
A month ago, I would be yawn, but now this is again. You have two teams playing for their playoff lives. Yeah, both struggling to stay in the wild card contention.
You know what would be funny if we see a Saints and Niners situation where in a defensive game that they just have a shootout.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that.
But I don't think in this game though there's any must starts. I think it's all flex.
I can't think of anybody.
It's all like Josh Allen's a streamer, and then
Devin Singletary.
He's a flex. Brown's a flex.
Another game where you want no tight ends.
It's hard to trust anybody.
Yeah.
Man, there's just no tight ends this year.
I don't like the matchups for any offensive players in this game. I'd just like to watch it and enjoy seeing a good hard-nosed football game and not have to worry about any fantasy implications. Unless you have one of the defenses, that might be a way to go. Either defense is probably a good pick, but nah. Good game to watch, not so much for fantasy.
And then Monday night, a rematch of, what was it, the 2010 Super Bowl, Colts and the Saints?
Oh.
I think New Orleans is reeling from that loss. I think they're going to come back and win.
Oh, they're going they are going to destroy the Colts, in my opinion. They're going to. You're starting Breeze. You're starting Michael Thomas. Kamara? Are we starting him?
I think you have to start.
Yeah, it's like a
hasn't had that kind of a year that we expected. That's another one of those guys drafted high that didn't live up to expectations this year. But you can't.
The Saints have to be one of the best teams in the league in terms of depth. Like, they just have incredible depth. Latavius Murray, they got a great depth at wide receiver. They got Thomas, Traquan Smith, among others.
Ted Ginn.
Ted Ginn, yeah, they just have. Yeah, Taysom Hill.
They have a lot of weapons.
It's just ridiculous.
So, yeah, I'm starting Alvin Kamara if I have him, which I don't. I have him in any leagues, but you can't not start him. How dumb would you feel if you didn't start him and he scored like 3 touchdowns?
Well, that's my signature question that I seem to ask every time. Are we picking a tight end in this game? No. Well, actually, Jared Cook's injured, so it's not even a conversation.
Maybe Jack Doyle, simply because...
Only because Ebron's out, and we know who's going to get the volume.
Well,
Brissett likes his tight ends.
And Hilton's injured. It's another pass catcher.
Marlon Mack's already back, too. I just realized that.
Yeah, I thought a broken hand would keep him out of the game a lot longer, but...
I thought he wouldn't be here till like the divisional round of the playoffs if they made it there, but nope. Came in back last week. So what about defense? Are you taking the Saints defense? I would with all those injuries, maybe. Well, now that Mac's back, maybe not.
Yeah, it just depends what else you have.
Yeah, honestly.
But you could do a lot worse than the Saints.
If you had somebody who was purely matchup last week, then, I mean, I don't know. I feel like many people...
I saw that people started the 49er defense last week and got a -4 in some of the leagues because of all the points they gave up.
Yeah, you're talking to one of them. I own a lot of the 49ers defense. I own them in almost all my leagues. Rough week.
I know I've benched the Saints defense for New England this week.
And there you go. That is week 15. Next week will be championship week already. Man, we wait all year for this to get here, and then it just flies by.
We wait all episode to get to bold predictions.
Yes. You got any?
Well, I have to say that I'm 3 weeks in a row, and y'all are on a cold streak. My dad's Geis for 100 yards, and you picked the Saints over the Niners, so you were one Robbie Gould leg away from taking the dub, but nope.
I was. Well, let's see this week's bold prediction. I already made it. I'll say it again. Well, I'll take the Cowboys over the Rams.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how big of a reach this is. I haven't looked at the Vegas line, but I have to think Houston's favored over Tennessee, and I'm going to go with Tennessee. I'm going to take the Titans. And
actually, the Titans are favored by 2.5.
Oh, are they really? Well, then I can't. That's not a very bold prediction. I'll come up with something else.
What'd you pick? Rams over the Cowboys?
Who's favored that game?
I mean, that game's pretty even. The Rams are favored by 1. I mean, it might as well be even.
Well, so you're taking the Rams?
I took the Cowboys.
Oh, you did take the Cowboys? That's
mm-hmm.
I wrote Rams over Dow on my freaking paper.
We can have
over LA Rams.
We can have competing bold predictions. Like I said, it's an even matchup. So,
well, maybe for championship week, I'll take the Michigan over Alabama.
That is bold.
I kind of want to just pick the Bungles over the Patriots, because if I get that right somehow, that would be the greatest prediction of all time.
Well, if that happens, I will pronounce the Patriot corpse dead if that happens.
Oh my gosh, who do I pick? What do you got, Dad?
I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. A lot of these games are so close that it's hard to call it a bold prediction.
Yeah.
Take the Skins over the Eagles. Do it.
I can't. I can't do it. But they very well could win. They're at home. I don't even know what the line is. Who's got the lines pulled up? Anybody?
On the Redskins and the Eagles. Eagles are by 4.
Anything.
Yeah, I got
Eagles are 4.5.
Yeah.
Gosh, if I was betting, I would take the Washington getting those points. after what we saw. Do I dare say that the Lions could beat Tampa Bay this week? No. I can't do it.
Last week you did a stat. Let's try a stat again.
Let me see here.
Oakland, New Zealand. I cannot pick the Jags. I just can't do it. Final game. The black hole.
Okay, I think I got one here. I'll go out on a limb and say Devontae Freeman actually scores another touchdown in San Francisco.
Oh, that is bold.
That is pretty bold.
Good. Devontae Freeman.
Because no one will expect him to. He will do it.
Well, that being said, I was close to picking the Falcons over the 49ers, but I just cannot picture I can't even picture a score in my head where the
Richard
49ers.
Sherman's injured. Just putting that out there.
I don't care. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley's gone. Well,
last call.
I don't know. I mean, the Bungles would be nice, but I'm gonna stick with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give me Drew Lock in Arrowhead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is a bold one.
That is.
You are on a roll. We'll see if it continues.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
All right.
I mean, that's pretty bold. But the Broncos also aren't as sucky as they were a month ago. But
They still quietly have a good defense.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we'll see. All right. Bold predictions are in. And that'll do it for this week. Thanks, everybody, for listening. ChristopherMedia.net, back up to normal. Everything's running how it should be. So, as always, your first stop to get us. But, too, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, the iHeartRadio app. So, Spreaker. Oh, yeah, can't forget Spreaker. They saved our ass for a week and a half getting the podcast to everybody. So, it's, next week's championship week. Still on the fence whether or not we're going to do... I mean, we're still going to do a show for Week 17, like kind of reviewing the year, but I'm still on the fence of whether or not we should review for Week 17, because if your league's playing in Week 17, you need a new league. That's just
not necessarily, because you know what one of my leagues does? They have a Pro Bowl where you can pick anybody that's on anybody's roster.
Now that
is really fun, because every year there's somebody that picks a guy that's not on anybody's roster and he gets a big fat 0 because you have to do your homework. You can only pick players that are on somebody's roster in the league at the time of Week 16 ending. So it's a really fun thing.
And
you can pick any quarterback from the universe of quarterbacks that are on rosters in the league at that point. So.
And too, it sounds like
it's $100. $100 winner take all. So.
Oh, nice. But too, it sounds like too that it could. There's an X factor in there, because Week 17, a lot of the people that you'd probably end up taking are sitting.
That's the whole thing. It makes you have to sit down and look. Okay, who's sitting, who's playing, and a lot of people pick the same players over and over, but there's enough variance that we don't have everybody picking the same lineup. But there might be half the league has the same quarterback, half the league has a running back, but. It's pretty interesting. It's a pretty cool thing to make that Week 17 relevant and put a little bit of money out there for everybody in the league. Always a fun thing.
All right. Well, set your lineups. Good luck if you're good luck in your playoffs. And thanks for listening. And we'll catch you next week.
Adios, amigos.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
It's Wild Card Weekend, and you can follow all the action at BetOnline.net. For the first time in league history, 6 games are on the board during the opening round of the playoffs. Feature games Saturday include Indy at Buffalo and LA at Seattle. On Sunday, Chicago visits the Big Easy, while divisional rivals Cleveland and Pittsburgh square off. Check out all the action this week at BetOnline.net as the journey to Tampa gets underway. Always available online or your mobile device. Visit BetOnline.net today. Bring the game home at BetOnline.net.
ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.